Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. This video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and Zillow once again is flip-flopping on the housing market and declaring home price declines for the remaining part of the year. And we've seen this before. If you've been watching my channel, this should be absolutely no surprise for you. But the question is why are they starting to get timid once again on the housing market? And why are they now stating that they believe for the remaining part of this year in 2024, the remaining part of this year, home prices on average are going to go down, and they're going to go down more in some areas than other, as you can see in this map, and we'll go over this. But New Orleans, you guys, no one's talking about New Orleans, which they expect over the next year is going to go down 7.5%. But don't worry, you guys, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to all the Zillow data. But before I do that, I need to tell you guys and explain what's going on with myself. What am I doing right now in the housing market? Now, you guys probably know by now I'm being forced to move. So I put an offer on a house. I ended up walking away. But the reason that I want to talk to you right now is I continue to get comments that are asking me and saying, Travis, if you believe the housing market is going to crash, why would you purchase a house right now? And if you're a part of our Discord group, if you've been following me, if you've taken the home buying course that I've made for you, then you understand exactly why. But for the new viewers, for people that may not understand, let me explain, okay? First of all, I'm not even looking at any houses unless they already have 10 to 15% in equity, or rather under market value. That's wedge, okay? So wedge, 10, 15% of wedge and equity. Now, on top of that, guys, when I actually go looking at houses, I start negotiating with the realtor as soon as they ask for feedback. Okay, good realtors are going to ask for feedback. So I'll start negotiating with them. But here's the thing. The first offer, and I've made 2 offers this year, the first offer that I made was an offer on a house that had, well, if I would have got it, would have had 35% in equity. And so that's the thing, you guys. When a crash happens, more than likely, the only thing that will change is interest rates will also go down. But the prices of houses will also go down. And so the question is how much do you think prices will go down? If you think prices are going to go down 20% and you find a house that's 20% under market value, is it still a bad idea to buy? That's what I want to ask you. I mean, seriously, think about it. If I can find a house, again, with 35% in value right now and I love it, I'm going to buy, and I'm going to buy right now. Now, remember, you guys, if that happens, and if the same thing happens to you, we have an unfair advantage for almost everyone else. If I buy a house that has 35% in equity, guess what? If the market goes down 35%, I still have equity because I have my down payment. Now, what that means is I am in a better position to take hits and turmoil in the future. I can still refinance potentially. I can still sell my house potentially. Again, up to about 35 to 40% decline. But the thing that I'm really trying to explain is, and you guys really should be paying attention to this, I'm not just going out there buying houses. I don't believe in purchasing homes right now overall. That is why I've taken a big, giant step out of sales. I also don't trust consumers enough, and I hate to say it, to make good decisions in purchasing a house. And that's why I left. But again, here's the thing, okay? Understand what I'm doing. I'm looking for houses that are already crashing in value. How can I do that? And maybe you can't do that. Well, I have access to MLS, which is the multiple listing service, and exactly what you guys need to get access to. But that's what's happening. I'm not going out there. I'm not buying houses unless those fundamentals exist. Wedge, cash flow, proper expectations, and something that I love. I will buy tomorrow. In fact, I am looking, actually. I'm forced out of here, but I'm going to probably end up renting. The best thing I found, you guys, just because I'm forced to buy right now, and it's in the middle of June, is I was able to find a house that I love in an area that I love that had 21% in equity. The problem is I told you I want 30, 35%. And by taking 21% in equity, which means it's undervalued by 21%, that's a pretty good deal. That's still settling for me. That's still not my goal, okay? It's 30%, but I was willing to settle because, again, I love the house. My family's kind of, done with all of this, and I was going to take it. But what happened is, and this is what you guys may want to think about doing, is before I spent the money to enter the transaction, I reviewed the insurance because I noticed that the roof was 24 years old. Okay. So again, before going under contract, I got an insurance quote, and this is a mid $300,000 house. I'm not rich. I'm not rich at all. I have one opportunity. I have purchasing power for one house. Okay. Then I have to rebound, maybe invest again, but I got one chance, guys. I'm not rich. I ran the insurance. It came back $5,800 a year in just the premium. $5,800, it killed the deal. The insurance should have been more like $2,000 a year. $5,800, you guys, it destroyed my cash flow and it made it to where it's extremely unaffordable. Now, I'm not saying the payment is not important. The payment is important. But for me, what I'm looking for in the housing market as far as a crash, the home becomes affordable. But I'm not talking necessarily about the payment. I need the price. The price needs to be affordable. So I think you're going to like this article, especially if you want prices to go down. Anyways, guys, long story short, I walked away from the property. The agent still texted me like, oh, anything you could do? I'm like, yeah, I'll do something. I'll be patient with you if you want to replace your roof because it's 24 years old. Ain't no one want to insure that property. And even if something happens to the roof and the insurance comes in to replace it, more than likely because it's so old, they're not going to give you a full replacement cost. So in other words, due diligence, due diligence, due diligence. It is vital. Do it up front. You could do a lot of it before you even spend a penny. Remember that. Let's move on to the article. All right, guys, so the name of this flip-flopping Zillow article is Zillow Home Value and Sales Forecast. So let's read a little bit of this. Again, you guys, they did flip-flop. They are now saying it's going to decline even more. You guys should remember last month, they also declared prices of houses were going to go down for the remaining part of the year. They are now saying that's going to accelerate. So good news. Again, can't really lean on Zillow, can't really trust them, in my opinion. We've seen this time and time again. They're just telling us what's going on now. There is no direction here, and it is laced with financial biasness, in my opinion. You guys maybe don't share my opinion. Let me know seriously, tell me. Am I crazy? Am I crazy here? Do you guys trust Zillow and their proprietary data? Do you guys trust what they're doing here? Because I do not. But I want to know what you feel, guys. Let me know what you feel. Let's read a little bit of this. Zillow home value forecast was revised downward. Swish, right? That's a good thing. While expectations for existing home sales were adjusted upward. Huh? Okay, so I really thought about that. I'm like, okay, they're adjusting it upward. Why would they do that? Maybe because rates went down? Well, why would rates go down? Unemployment? Well, why would more people buy houses if there's unemployment? If there's unemployment, that's out of control. Why would sales go up? So I just, I'll finish reading this. Let me know what you guys think. Zillow Home Value Forecast continues to project modest annual increases in the near term, calling for 0.4% growth over 2024, down slightly from last month's projection of 0.6% growth. Oh, and now here's the thing, you guys. Over the next 12 months, so over the next year, Zillow expects home values to fall 1.4%. And that's a national average, which means, and we'll look at the map here, some metros are going to be way worse off compared to other metro areas, say like Massachusetts, New Jersey, places like that. They go on to say the expectation for home sales is similarly modest. Zillow now projects an increase to 4.12 million existing home sales, indicating a 0.9% growth over last year. And remember, last year, it was a dumpster fire. Okay, it was not strong and resilient. It was a dumpster fire going back to the 1990s as far as sales transactions. And remember, if you're going to compare the 1990s, remember, population right now is way higher now. So it's actually worse than the 90s and even worse than the 70s because, again, we have more population and less growth because we have more population and the same number or a similar number of sales. The housing market is a dumpster fire. I don't see how anyone cannot see that unless they're being paid to look away. This goes on. With a persistent rise in housing inventory in recent months, the market is experiencing a gradual, albeit still modest, shift in favor of buyers. Does that mean you don't need to be patient anymore? No, that does not mean you don't need to be patient. All that means is they're starting to come around. I still would not trust anything Zillow would say. I'm still doing all my own research, all my own verification. You cannot trust these companies. But this goes on. The tight conditions that have defined the market for years are finally easing some, but a lot in Austin and other places in Texas, but not necessarily in Houston, where I live. It's so close, Houston. Come on, speed this up, man. I'm ready to move out. I don't want to rent no more. I don't want to stress no more. I just want a house, you guys. I want to move on with my life. Come on, man. 4 years ago, the housing market was in turmoil in 2019. People don't remember. I was in the business. I remember. This is insane. This goes on. The tight conditions that have defined the market for years are seeing easing some. Okay, I read that. New for sale listings saw, and this is good, 12.6% annual increase in May compared to 8.7% in April. So we are getting more listings. However, and I want to make this clear, we're not getting as many new listings as we normally get during a balanced market, which further indicates that there are sellers on the sideline that cannot afford to sell, which also tells us that when interest rates do drop significantly, because the Fed, again, why would they drop significantly? Why? Because the Fed needs to stimulate the economy, more than likely unemployment. So when that happens, again, when those rates go down, odds are there's massive economic turmoil. So you need good purchasing power right now. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. But my point, when that happens, there's going to be a rush of sellers listing their house for sale. And I do not believe that there's going to be, depending on what happens in the economy, we really need to know what's going to happen in the economy. But I do not think that there's enough demand that can afford a house still, that can even qualify from a financing standpoint to absorb that additional inventory. People right now in the US are getting rocked. I myself am struggling to keep my purchasing power. I have to fight like crazy. And in some months, I'm losing purchasing power, which is mind blowing to me because I've adjusted my life so much. Either way, I'm saying be cautious, continue to work on your purchasing power. Slow and steady wins the race in this scenario. Buyers have thus far not kept pace. And again, that's what I'm telling you. The laws of supply and demand are shifting. As a result, many of these listings are staying on the market for longer periods, leading to inventory buildup and putting some downward pressure on home price appreciation, right? And don't forget the leading indicators as far as why I believe prices are going to go down this year at a faster pace than 2022 is because the price cuts are even greater than 2022. And I use 2022 as an example because we had deflation, we had depreciation, we had values go down exceeding normal seasonality. It was actually faster than the GFC, but it shifted in 2023 right around the bank term funding program being open. Hopefully you're following along, but nevertheless in 2024, that's what I'm talking about. So those leading indicators are worse than 2022, the price cuts. Price cuts are worse than 2022, and it's only June right now. And on top of that, you guys, another leading indicator is days on market. Now, the thing is it may take some time for us to see that in the median sales price because of the way that median is calculated. Median is not a true indication of value. It's very easy to manipulate median. In other words, you guys, the high end of the median and the low end of the median, two completely different worlds. If you really want to do a good job and look at median price, you got to go subdivision. And generally what I do is when I'm reviewing comps and I'm using comps to understand value, I'm only looking at a 500 square foot variance in size, okay? In Texas, we have big houses, so 500 square feet is a good variance. You may be in, say, Southern California where a 250 square foot variance may be more necessary. But in my market, I go 500 square feet, okay? My point is, guys, do the work. It's not that hard. Just do the work. You have time. You have plenty of time, right? You guys disagree? I think you guys got plenty of time. But either way, let's move on. Now, obviously, guys, will be linked in my description. I'm going to go over some of these tabs right here. This is the home value tab. This is Zillow home value forecast. So they're forecasting. And obviously, I selected Austin. Austin's my neighbor metro area. And what I wanted to really bring up in Austin is they never really rebounded. I mean, if you look at Austin, holy smokes, you guys. I mean, they peaked right around June, July of 2022 at 563,000. So they've lost over $100,000 in value and it's still going down. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not out of this part. The cycle has just started. We're still in the midst of a cycle, which means unless there's a massive demographic change and employment change there for the better, Austin's just going to continue to go down in value. But if you guys want to see what's going on in your metro area, just come here, select where you want to look, and it will show you. Let's take a look at New Orleans. Oh my gosh. Why isn't anyone talking about New Orleans? I'm the only one talking about New Orleans. New Orleans is in like shockingly bad shape. Same with Mississippi area, Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama. Like those metro areas they're really not good. I mean, they're in the similar condition as Austin for different reasons, but the unaffordability is a primary reason for all of them. But look at the decline here. I mean, geez Louise, you guys. I mean, I feel bad for the people in New Orleans that purchased really, I mean, look at this. So basically, anyone that purchased from 2022 on is upside down in New Orleans. Now, obviously, some people purchase smart, there's investors, so it's not everyone. But if we go back to February of 2020, home values were lower in New Orleans. So I would say in New Orleans right now, there's an absolute housing market crash that is evident, that you can see with data, especially if you live there. So you cannot say, again, in New Orleans, we're just looking at New Orleans, is stable and strong. You guys, it's been going down in value since July of 2022. Home values aren't supposed to go down, right, Dave Ramsey? Is that what Dave Ramsey teaches us? So what's this mean here? Dave, what does this mean? Is this normal? And then Brian, is this seasonality? I mean, these guys are leading people into purchasing real estate, and they're saying things like, yeah, be careful, but you better buy now, because if you're not going to buy now, you're stupid. Dave Ramsey is calling people stupid, but he's not acknowledging the truth, which is some metro areas, they're crashing. They're crashing right now. Sorry for that rant. Let's move on to the home value map. If you want to visualize in a different way, and this is the forecast to May of 2025. And you guys see, if you go play around with this, but look at Austin. We looked at that 3.8% down. San Antonio also down. Let's look at Houston. So they're saying my metro area over the next 12 months is going to be going down 2.3%, but there's no science in that. That stuff, once people start realizing what's happening, it spirals out of control. It's unstoppable. Same thing with unemployment. But take a look at Baton Rouge, negative 5%. That's crazy. There's Jackson, Mississippi. They're saying down 3.5%. There's Birmingham that I've been talking about as well, down 2%. And then they're finally starting to say a lot of these coastal Florida metros are going to start going down as well, but they do not have Miami going down. I think that's crazy. There's a massive surge of inventory as well in Miami. I see that going down. But look at the East Coast is starting to see some decline as well and softening. They're saying Baltimore as well going down 3.6%. Look it up north here, Minneapolis as well, which is surprising. They're saying Minneapolis. I'm going to start watching Minneapolis a little bit more, but that is a turbulent area. Same thing with Spokane, Washington. You guys see same thing with Seattle. I mean, these are big metro areas that are going to go down in price. Okay. I mean, not just in my opinion, also Zillow. Portland, Oregon down. Let's look over here in California. San Francisco leading the way according to Zillow with a forecasted decline of 4.9%. You guys see Sacramento also down 3.2%. When we go to Southern California, they're saying San Diego, which is one of the leading metros right now. I mean, San Diego's in a mess. Really is in a mess. I mean, San Diego literally has almost none of the factors, for example, as Austin or New Orleans, okay? They have just an unaffordability and no inventory problem. I mean, the unaffordability in San Diego, if you're a native, if you grew up there, if you're local and you didn't win the lottery and don't have filthy rich parents that are willing to pay for everything in your life and ruin your life in doing so, then you're not going to buy in San Diego. That's just impossible until we get our correction. But very interesting stuff here. If you guys want to come back here again, take a look. Here's Utah. Utah experiencing some softening as well. Very, very interesting stuff. But we got growth. Look, Albuquerque. So apparently Albuquerque is supposed to grow, as is Rochester, Syracuse, and Buffalo, New York. So they're saying those are resilient, with one of the most resilient housing markets according to Zillow for the next 12 months. That's going to be Knoxville. Very interesting. I'm going to tell you, I would not pick them as my champion, but they certainly have. Now take a look at the existing home sales. That's right here, you guys. Again, these are pretty cool tabs. So essentially they're saying from now, okay, so June 2024 till, let's see here, January of 2025, existing home sales in the gutter. They're going down. Again, you guys, I've been one of the only people that have said and called for less than 4 million existing home sales in 2024. Now, they are saying that it is going to skyrocket. Look at the home sales they're saying. So they're saying it's going to skyrocket in 2025. But why? If people can't afford things already and things are getting worse and the trajectory of defaults is getting worse, real income's going down, then why the hell would sales go up? Someone explain that to me. Can you call me? Can you email me, Zillow? Can you explain why? Is it just because you're just in the seasonality bubble? That's fine. I mean, if you're just going to talk about seasonality, we don't need you. Now, take a look at this, guys. This is the existing home sales, okay, in the United States. And this is comparing 2024 to 2019. And basically, this is showing you guys up into April, we have about 360,000 existing home sales. And when we go back to, let's see here, 2019 April. So 2019 April, we had 456,000. Let's see here. April of 2020, we had 373. April of 2021, it jumped up to 513. 2022 went down to 463. So we're a good ways down. And you guys, this is so unbelievable because this is in the front end of a recession. We don't even necessarily have out of control unemployment right now. So it's just a cycle. Now, it just means that we have to be patient. We have to be strong. We have to work on our goals, stay motivated on those goals, and in the meantime, work on the relationships in your life, which to be honest, guys, isn't that the most important thing? Aren't the relationships in your life more important than money, more important than a house? Isn't that true? I mean, why do you even need money? And why would you even need a house if it's not to enjoy it with someone else? Think about it. Now, anyways, guys, other than that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget, if you need any help in commercial financing, go to my description, fill out that form, email me the form. I will call you back personally. And don't forget, like the video if it helped. Shoot me a comment. Give me a bonkers below. Share the video. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know. I wish you luck, and I hope you win.